Good evening, all. Welcome to TCS NQT 2026 coding training, day 9. Hope you are all doing well, preparing well for the examination. So, another 10 days left, hardly. So, everyone started their preparation. So, all the sections cut off will be there. So, you need to qualify in all the sections. Okay, so prepare well, give equal priority to each and every section. So, today we will discuss in continuation to our previous lecture. We'll try to implement this in Java. So in previous lecture, we solved this problem and we implemented this solution in Python. Okay, so in this session, we'll try to implement the same code in solution in Java. Okay, so hope if you recollect the question. Now this is the question problem statement. So we need to convert a string from A to B. That is the main aim of the question. Okay, so given one string A, you need to convert it to B. Both the strings are of equal length. Okay, there are some rules given for conversion from A to B. Okay, so following these rules, you need to convert A to B. Okay, so then here the task is to find minimum number of moves which is required to perform the conversion. If conversion is not possible, then we should return a -1. This is what we discussed in our previous lecture. Examples also we have seen. Given a string A, B, C, A, B, then we need to convert this into A, B, A, B. Okay, so how we should do the conversion? In first operation, you select some subset of this. Okay, then always replace with the smallest element in that subset. Okay, so if it is replaced, then everything becomes B, B, B. Then again place them back into the original string. Then your original string becomes A, B, B, A, B after first operation. Then in the second operation, again select a substring A, B, A. Okay, so then it will be replaced with the smallest element A, then it becomes a A. So replace these back into the original strings, then it becomes A, B, which is same as a B. So in second operation, we have finished. That's why number of operations required are 2 operations. So answer is 2. This is what we discussed. Okay, so examples also given, and for this example we have seen DE and CD. Okay, so in this case it is not possible. For example, if you take a subset as a 2 elements only DE, then if we replace with the smallest element, then everything becomes DD. Okay, so but you never get a C from this string. Okay, so that's why the output is -1. So for this we identified 2 important conditions. Hope you remember those conditions. Okay, so what are the 2 conditions we identified? First condition, okay, so that means all the characters present in a string A, okay, so must be greater than all the characters present in a string B. Equal, greater than or equal, greater than or equal. Okay, but they should not be less than. Okay, so if this criteria is not met, then you can return a -1. Okay, then the second condition we observed is all the characters present in B must also present in A. Then only it is possible to convert A into B. This is second observation we did. Okay, so why we failed in this case, we have seen. Let me take a different color pen. Okay, so here why it is -1 we seen in our previous lecture. Okay, so the character C is not present in A. Okay, so that's why there is no way to get this character C from A. Okay, so from A you cannot get this C character C. Okay, so that's the condition 2 implies here. Okay, so all the characters present in A must be in B must also present in A. Then only it is possible to perform the conversion. So these are the two conditions we need to check, and once these two conditions are satisfied, then you can perform the conversion. So how many number of moves you are doing conversion, that you can count taking a variable called as a moves is initially 0. Okay, so for this we return the Python code. Okay, so the same instructions now we'll try to convert into Java code. Okay, so because many students are asking for Java solution. Okay, so let us understand how to implement the same given the question, how to write code in a Java. Am I audible? Right, so we'll try to uh, define this. Okay, so previously we have written this code, we defined the function. Okay, so this main function we have defined, we are reading this main function. Okay, so you can use a scanner class to read the inputs here. Okay, so let us implement the main code here. Okay, so then so what we required here, we need to define a class here. So define a sorry uh, so what we do is we define the class here. So just class you define here. Okay, so call the class name as a main here. Okay, so inside this class we define two functions. Okay, so one function I am defining here, main function I'll define here. Okay, otherwise I define the main function in the next page. So we'll define the main function here, public static void main, and say string args. Now inside the main, what we require, we need to create an object for the scanner class. So create object for the scanner class. So how do we create? Scanner s is equals to new scanner, then pass system.in as an argument. Okay, right? So once you get this, what you require an integer variable here, n you need to read, no? So int n is equal to, just you can say sc dot next int. So you will get the integer value, and next two lines contains two strings, no? So directly you can read string a, you can read here. Okay, how you can read sc dot next line. This reads the first string, and read the second string, string b equals to sc dot next line. This reads the next line. Okay, so here directly we call the function. Okay, so I just write the code in short. Okay, so inside the print statement, system.out.println, println, we call the function. Okay, so what is our function name? Minimum moves, no? So we call the function called as a minimum moves method. Okay, so then we pass n, the first string a and the second string b as a arguments. Okay, so then it prints either number of moves or -1 value it prints. Okay, so then I am closing this main function here, then close the class here. Got it. So here we will define the function. So say public static. So function name is minimum moves. So it is going to return an integer value, no? Okay, so you should write the return type also here. Say int, function name is minimum moves. Okay, so what are the arguments you are getting? You are getting the first argument as a integer n you are getting. Okay, then the second argument you are getting string a, then string b you are getting here. Got it. So what you need to do is uh, you convert this string is a object, no? Okay, so better you convert into a character array, both a and b strings you convert into character arrays. Okay, so then it would be easy to access character by character. Okay, so how to convert into character array? Just you define a character array here. Okay, so then say a equals to, okay, so this string dot, there is a method in a uh, string class. Okay, to convert the string into character array, a dot then say to char array, to char array. So then the string will be converted into the character array. Okay, similarly convert the second string b into character array, because we need to access each character in these two strings, no? So that's why it is always good to convert them into character arrays. So this is how you should handle the strings in your examination. Okay, so these things you should know. Right now you got two character arrays, a and b. You got the character arrays, just like a is a now a character array. It is an array which contains the characters like a b c a b. Okay, now you can access by using index 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, so then similarly b is another character array which we needs to convert a into this form, aab then aab. This is our, now what we need to do in Python code. First we declared a dictionary. Okay, so to store the characters which needs to be converted, which needs to be modified in a. Okay, so the characters of b which needs to be modified in a and in their indexes. Okay, so we have stored their indexes. If you remember this code here, see we declared a dictionary here. Okay, so for storing the characters of b which are need to be modified in a replaced with these characters in a. Okay, so that dictionary we will define here. So here what we do is we use a tree map here. Okay, so instead of hash map we use a tree map here. The advantage between hash map and tree map is tree map you can sort the elements in the tree map by using the key. Okay, so here we want the elements to be sorted in descending order, if you remember. Okay, right, so here we have stored the elements in a descending order. Okay, right, see here, so this is what we arranged the keys in descending order. Okay, so that's why, because always you start replacing from bigger element to lowest element. So same dictionary we'll create in Java, we call it as a tree map. Okay, so I am creating a tree map here. Tree map. Okay, so which contains a character as key. The first argument is the key value. Okay, then second argument, how we have stored all the indices where this letter to be replaced. Okay, so all the indices we stored, and these indices are implemented as list here. If you observe, all the indices are implemented as a list here. Okay, so here also will store as a list here. So we have a list type in Java. It is available, but you need to provide what values you are going to store in that list. Okay, so it is integer type, and now you create a object name for this. So what object name we have given? Target indexes. Okay, so we have given a variable name as a target indexes. So here also we'll use the same variable name called as target indexes. So this is equals to, now how you can create a object for the tree map? By using the new operator, new tree map. Okay, so then give empty angle brackets here. Okay, and here within the parenthesis, okay, so you specify the whether the elements must be arranged in a descending order or ascending order. So you want the directly when you are storing, the elements must be stored in a descending order. Okay, so for that we have a module called collections module. Okay, so in collections module there is a method called as a reverse order. In Python we said reverse is equal to true, but here we have a method called as a reverse order. Okay, so which keeps the elements of a tree map in reverse order. Okay, that means in descending order it stores the elements of tree map. Okay, so now this creates an empty tree map here. Okay, so it is just like a dictionary which contains a key and value pairs. Okay, so this is your key and this is your value. Key value pairs. This is how it is stored. Okay, so key can be the letter A, and all the indices will be stored in the form of a list here. Okay, key can be B, and all the indices will be stored here. Okay, so this is how the tree map is created. An empty tree map is created. Okay, I have just shown as an example, but empty tree map will be created like this. Let me erase this also. So it creates a empty tree map like this. Okay, now we need to add elements into this tree map. Okay, so what we did, if you recollect from the Python code, okay, so then what you need to do, you need to traverse the first string and identify wherever the character in first string is not matching with a character in a B, second string. Okay, so find out non-matching characters and store the characters of B. This is the character which you need to replace in A. So B characters will become the keys here. Characters in B, string B becomes the key values, and all the indexes in A becomes the indexes where this key needs to be replaced. Okay, so now we'll traverse the first string here. Okay, so how we traverse? By using a for loop. We traversed, if you remember the code, see here we used a for loop here. Same thing I am converting into Java code. Okay, so for int I, starting from first character, so start from I is equal to 0, then I less than up to n, then say I plus plus. Same loop we used there also. Okay, now what we need to do? Now we need to check the very first basic condition. We need to check. No, as I said, all the characters in A must be greater than the characters of B. If that is satisfied, then only it is possible, conversion is possible. As you are traversing the string A here, okay, so while traversing itself, you check whether any of the character is not not following this property, okay. So if it is not following this property, then immediately you can return. No need to return -1. No need to process remaining characters. If, got it? So the basic check we will do here. That means if a of I, if a of I is less than b of I, if a of I is less than b of I, what we need to do? We need to return a -1. Directly we will return -1. Okay, so from here itself the program ends. It won't process remaining characters. Okay, so this indicates that, this says that all the characters in A must be greater than all the characters of B. This condition we are testing here. A should be greater than B. String A should be greater than B. If it is not following this rule, then immediately we are returning -1. Okay, so character by character we are checking. Okay, so first I value 0. Now see how I add elements into the dictionary. I value is 0. So first it processes this character. Okay, so A of 0 less than B of 0. A of 0 less than B of 0. No, both are equal. So this statement is not executed. Okay, so once the condition is true, what we need to do? We need to track. Okay, so the index, whether if there is any mismatch character, store all the indexes of those things. Okay, so here again I will check whether the two characters are mismatched or not. If A of I not equals to B of I, if A of I not equals to B of I, so what we need to do, if there is any mismatch character, so this is the character we need to replace with this character. Okay, so this index we need to collect, indexes where we need to replace the characters. Okay, so mismatching characters indexes we should collect there, and also the character at that index in B becomes the key in dictionary tree map. Okay, so that is what we are testing here. If A of I not equals to B of I, okay, so in this case what happens? Let us look at first. I value is 0. Now A of 0 not equals to B of 0. No, it is false. Both are equal, no? Both are equal. A of 0 not equals to B of 0, false. So what happens? Again A value increments. Simply A value increments. Okay, so sorry, I value increments. I value now becomes a 1. Again it tests. A of 1 less than B of 1. What is A of 1? A of 1 is B. Okay, so B less than A na? No, false. Then again it comes here. So B not equals to A, it checks here. B not equals to A, yes. That means we identified one mismatch character. Okay, so now collect its index and this becomes the key here. Okay, so that will store into this tree map here. Okay, so that is what we did previously in Python also. Okay, so the same code, now see here, this code we are trying to write this code here. Okay, right, now let us convert this into Java code. Now if this is true, what we need to do? We need to check whether if it is already present. Okay, so that means the character in B, if it is already present as a key in the tree map or not, that we need to test. If it is not there, now we create a new key with this character and we'll store an empty list in that. Okay, so afterwards we add this index I into that. Okay, so first I am checking whether the character of this B is already in the key or not. Okay, so how we can check that in Java? So our tree map name is target indexes. Okay, so target indexes dot put if absent. There is a function called as a put if absent. put if absent. Okay, so which is absent? B of I. B of I. Okay, so you are telling that if the character at B of I is absent, put into the dictionary. Which dictionary? Target indexes. You put into the target indexes. That is what we are saying. Okay, so it is clear the method name, how beautifully it is given the name. C, put if absent P of I. Okay, so it checks what is B of I value is 1, B of I is A. Okay, so A is present in the tree map. This is our tree map. What is its name? Its name is target indexes. Don't get confused. Okay, so this is nothing but our target indexes. This is our tree map. Okay, so it checks. So the key A is present in this? No. Okay, so then what it will do? It creates the key A into this. Okay, and then what it does? It creates an empty array list. We need to create an empty array list because we have to store all the indexes. We have to store all the indexes present in a A. Okay, so for that character or key value. Okay, so how to create a new array list in this case? So just you can say that new array list. We'll create a new array list here. Okay, so give empty angle brackets. Okay, so then followed by the method name, close this. Now this creates a new array list like this. Okay, so this is how it creates. Just you can look at here. An empty array list will be created and key A will be created like this. Okay. Right. Now I'll show you how these values will be stored. Let us take one more example. Okay, so a bigger string we will take, and we will see what happens for the bigger string. Okay, so for this string what happens? It creates the empty array list since A is not present. Afterwards what we need to do? Now one I value is 1. This is the index now. So this index now we need to move into this here. Okay, so how you can add to this array list? How you can, if it is not present, then only create the empty list. Otherwise directly you add the index to I. That means after a if statement you should write. Okay, so how you can add that? So you should add into target indexes, target underscore indexes. Okay, dot. Now you have to get this value here. Okay, so for that you have a function called as get, and you pass the key as argument here. Okay, so what is the key here? The character at B of I is the key. Okay, so then it returns the value associated with that key. Value associated with that key is nothing but empty array list. Okay, so to this empty array list now we need to add the index I we need to add. Okay, so how we'll do that? So you will get that one. Okay, so B of I you get. Okay, so for that B of I empty array list you will get. Now we'll say add I will say. Okay, so I value is 1 no. Now in this array list 1 will be added. See, up to this part you will get B of I means B of I is the key I. Okay, so with key A whatever value present in the dictionary that is returned. Okay, so with B of I means this key A. So whatever with this key, the value present associated with this key will be returned here. Okay, so that is nothing but a empty array list previously. Okay, so it is an empty array list. This empty array list will be returned up to this part. Okay, then say, so to that array list dot add I value is 1 no. Now 1 will be added into this list. That is what happens here. Okay, so see, since for this we'll get only one index for each key here. Okay, if you have a long string you will get 2-3 indexes. Okay, that means in all such places you need to replace with the character A. That is the meaning of this. All such indexes we are identifying and storing here. Okay, so assume that the string A is like this: A, B, B, C, A, B. I'll take one example how you will get multiple index values in this array list. I'll show here. Okay, only for one character. Okay, so it could be similar for others. Now the string to be replaced is, it is assumed that A, this is B, A, B. Okay, so it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now up to 0, 1 we have processed here. Okay, so 1 is added. Now I value increments here, I value becomes 2 here. Then it checks A of 2 less than A of 2 less than B of 2. Now see, A of 2 less than B of 2 or no. Okay, then it checks A of 2 not equals to B of 2. A of 2 not equals to B of 2. Yes. Okay, so then it checks. Now see here, if it is not equal, then it is checking put if absent B of I in target indexes. Okay, so it checks whether this B of I is absent in this target indexes. No, it is already present. Okay, so then this function returns false value. That means this statement is not executed. This is not executed. Okay, so the if condition becomes a here in this case, put if absent, you are saying if it is not present, then only the function, this method is executed. Otherwise it won't execute. No action will be performed by this method. So directly the control comes here. Okay, it indicates that the key A is already present. Now you look at this statement: target indexes dot get B of I. Okay, so B of I means B of 2. Now see, B of 2 is what? A here. Okay, so get A from the target indexes. So what it gets, it returns this associated array list, it returns. So to that array list, now you add I value. What is I value here? 2. Okay, so 2 will be added into this array list. That's how multiple indexes will be added to this array list. Like this. For example, if you have A, B, 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 like CAB, one more B replaced with A, then one more index will be added here. Okay, so this indicates that this array list indicates that if you have array list like this. Okay, so these are the indexes in the string A. Okay, so in these indexes at 1, 2, 3, you need to replace with a character A, which is a key in our dictionary. That is the meaning of this key value pair here. Okay, so which characters needs to be replaced in A? Their indexes we are catching here, and the character by which it has to be replaced, we are storing as a key here from B. Got the meaning? Right. Now, so once you process like this, okay, so next the key B will be stored and its array list will present in this. Okay, so next key will be B here, so its index will become a 2 here. That's it. Okay, so no more A, B already there, nothing will be added because these are same matching characters. Okay, so matching characters here, then this is not executed, then the loop terminates. The same we did in Python also. Okay, so once we finished processing the string A and identified the indexes where the characters of B needs to be replaced. Okay, so now you perform the number of moves here. Okay, so for this what we did, we initialized a variable called as a moves is equal to 0. Moves is equal to 0. Okay, so we declared a number of moves as a 0. Okay, so now you convert this. Now what you need to do, you need to process the dictionary. Okay, so get each key from the dictionary and replace with this key, and the indexes associated indexes are available. Okay, so in A you replace all those indexes with this key. Okay, so now we write the same for loop in Java. Okay, so what I am doing is, now I am trying to do my processing here. Okay, so now I need to get the characters. Keys are nothing but the characters only. No, so I say character. The type is character here. So character, and what is the name? So I need to get the target character here. Okay, we called it as a target. Where from we need to get? We need to get from target indexes. Okay, so target indexes dot keys. It returns all the keys. It returns all the keys. There is a method in the tree map class called as a keys. So it which returns all the keys. Okay, so here I think keys is present in a Python. Okay, but in Java this is implemented as a key set method. Okay, so we call it as a key set method. Key set method returns all the keys present in that tree map. Okay, so now see here, we used this kind of for loop here. So what it does, it supplies a one by one key from this key set to this target. Okay, so we have two uh, keys, no, B and A, and we already said that they must be stored in a descending order. So that's why they are stored in descending order. The first key supplied will be B and the second key supplied will be A here. Okay, got it? So first the first key will be supplied. Now you get all the indexes associated with this. Once you get, you can replace those indexes with this character B here. Okay, so how do you do that? For that, you are getting a list. No, indexes are stored in the form of a list. Okay, so you define a variable called as a indices. Okay, so this indices must be of type, which type? List type. Okay, so I am writing this for loop here. So list, but containing what values here? Integer values. No, so you say integer, list of integer. Indices is a variable of which type? List of integers type. Okay, so you get that one. So where from? Target indexes dot. Okay, so target indexes dot how to get? So there is a method called as a get method. Okay, so to this get method, if you pass the key, where is the key now? The key is present in this variable key. This target is our key value now. Okay, so pass this target. So it returns the associated value. That means it returns this array list here. Okay, so you are getting that array list. You are storing in variable called as a indices. Indices is the now the array list containing all the indices. Okay, right. Now once you get this array list, before you do the conversion. Okay, so before you do the conversion, what we said, the two rules, because when you are trying to replace this character A from B into the string A. Okay, so we already said that A should contain the character A here. The string A must contain the small a, otherwise it is not possible to get this. That is what we said. Okay, so that means all the characters present in string B must also present in a string A, then only the conversion is possible. Okay, so that check now you have to perform before writing the conversion. Got it? Otherwise in the initially you need to write a separate for loop checking for this condition. Okay, so instead of writing another separate for loop, better you, or while processing in the for loop itself, here itself you can check here. Okay, so now I am checking the validation. Target character must exist in a string A. Okay, otherwise it is not possible. That is what I am checking. For that, what I do is I take a boolean variable. Okay, so boolean variable type, so as say for example what we call it as exists. Okay, so we call the boolean variable as a exists, and initially we take it as a false, because we assume that it is not existing, and afterwards if we find it is existing, we'll make it as a true. Okay, right. Now we'll check whether it is this character is existing in a or not. Okay, so for that what we do, we run a for loop here. Okay, so simple. For just you say you get all the characters from a and you check whether it is equal to our target character or not. Okay, so this is what you can write for c in a. Okay, so that means for each character of a. Okay, so I am checking here if the c is equals to our target, if c is equals to target. Okay, so then what we need to do, you need to say exists is equal to true. Exists is equal to true, and true in Java is written in lowercase. Exists is equal to true, and then we'll say break. That means even if one time it exists, that is enough, no need to check for the entire case. Okay, so close this if here and close this for loop here. Got it. Okay, so this loop we are checking whether the target character is present in a or not. Okay, sometimes the target character may present in a at the end. Okay, so that's why you need to check up to the end of the string, last character, up to the last character you need to check. If it is not present, then only you should come out. Okay, so once exists becomes true, it is present. Now you perform the move as we did in Python code. See here, we are returning -1 if it is not there. Okay, so or we are making it as a false in that case directly. Now you can start the conversion process. This will convert into Java code. Okay, so then what I am doing here itself, same in Python, we do the same thing. Instead of writing this, instead of taking another variable. Okay, so you can replace this entire thing and you can return -1 here itself. That is the best way of writing instead of taking another extra variable here. This way also you can, generally whenever you want to test whether it is present or not, better take a boolean variable initially, assume its value as false, and if you identify that if it is existing, make it as true and come out from the loop. This is general practice. This is how we write the code in Java. Okay, so directly you can return -1 as in Python and you can come out. While implementation I'll show this. Okay, right. Now once we identified that the character is existing, now we need to perform the moves. Okay, so the conversion we need to perform. I'm writing the conversion here itself. Okay, so what we need to do immediately, if it is possible, one operation we are doing now, so we'll increment the moves value. Moves plus plus will do. Okay, and see here, this indexes, more than one indexes are there. Okay, it is a list. That means you should run a loop and each index you need to convert. That means first you need to convert index 1 with a. Okay, so this needs to be changed to a. For that you require a loop here. Okay, so first you need to change this to a, then you go for the next index present in this 2, you need to change this to a, then only it is possible you get this b. Okay, so that means for this list you should run a loop here. That is what I am saying. Even though in the given example it is shown that you get only one index. Okay, but you should estimate this, you should assume, and you should predict this is going to be a list of indexes. So we should use, if you use only a single if condition and do the conversion for only one character, in the hidden test cases you have strings of this kind, then those test cases will fail. Got it? So now we write that conversion here. So we run a for loop here. So I'll just write a for loop here for int index now. So we take a variable called as a int index, and all the indexes you should get from this array list. We got this array list now. So where we stored that array list, in a variable called as a indices. This is our indices is array list. So from this indices you get one by one index, like 1 2 you have. Okay, so it supplies one by one. So what you need to write here, from indices into index, from indices colon indices, give the variable name here. Okay, so it supplies all the indices one by one, which will be stored in the index. Now you replace, simply you replace a of index, is equal to, okay, so where we are storing that key value a we are storing in this variable target. See here, each key will be stored in a target, so just use a target. That's it, it will be stored in the target. Okay, so then close this for loop. So this entire thing we are writing inside the for loop. See here, this is our for loop. Okay, so inside the for loop we are doing this. So I close this for loop here. Okay, so once you complete all the conversions for all the indexes, that means first for letter B you do the conversion. Okay, so then next for letter A you do the conversion, because there are two keys here. Okay, so A and B, no, so you are accessing in descending order. So first B you do, next you do A conversions. Okay, so once all the elements over from the dictionary, then the loop stops here. Okay, so this loop stops here. This loop stops here. Once you come out, you are counting how many moves you performed in this, so that you return here. Now you say return moves value. That's it. Now close the method. So this is one method. After this you have main method. Okay, so inside the main method, now you are calling the method. In one method you can call another method within the same class. In Java, this you can do. Got it? So let us execute this code in online compiler. Okay, so we'll open online compiler and we'll run the code. So let us go back to online compiler. Now this is our online compiler. So main class already there. Okay, so here we define the class public static. Okay, so int minimum moves. Okay, so here what you are getting, int n, then string a you are getting and string b you are getting. Yes or no? Right. So let us finish the main method first. Shall we finish the main method? So for this you need to import java data util data star. Every single line of code you should write in TCS examination. Nothing will be, no hard coding is provided to you. Okay, every line you should type and execute, including the import statements also. Now you create the scanner class here. So scanner object scanner sc equals to new scanner, then system dot in. Why I am writing first on paper, then afterwards I am typing the code. Okay, because when you write on paper, okay, so you can keep track the flow and easily you will understand the logic, whether am I making any mistake in my logic, that you understand. If you type on the system, no, so it's difficult to track. Okay, so better you work out on paper, write down the code on paper, afterwards you type. Hardly it takes 5 minutes for typing the code. Okay, so int n equals to sc dot next int, then similarly string string a equals to sc dot next line, then string b is equals to sc dot next line. Then in SOP you call the function. Okay, so directly call the function minimum moves, then pass all the arguments. N you pass, a you pass, and string b also you pass. That's it. This is your main code. Now come back to the minimum moves code. The very first thing in a minimum moves, what we need to do, we need to convert the strings into character arrays now. So how we'll convert? Char, then say a, will take capital letters here to denote the strings. Now you say a dot. Okay, so what is the function name? To char array. It is to char array. Okay, so this is our function name. Now convert the second string to b character array. Okay, so once you got character arrays, then you create the tree map, and tree map you create. Okay, so first one is a character, key is character. Okay, so then value is a list. Okay, so containing integers, list containing integer here. Okay, so and just what we did, we given the name as a target indexes. Object name we have given as target indexes is equals to new tree map. New tree map, give empty angle brackets. Okay, then within the collections dot, now you say collections dot reverse order. You want to store in reverse order now, so reverse order function method you call. That's it. Now this is creates an empty tree map here. Okay, so once you got empty tree map, now you process string a here. So for that we are writing a loop here for int I is equals to 0. Then we said I less than n, then say I plus plus. Okay, so then the basic condition we are checking here. Okay, so if a of I, if a of I is less than b of I. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to return -1 directly. Okay, so otherwise again you check one more condition here. If a of I, mismatching characters you identify. If a of I not equals to b of I, identified the mismatching character. Okay, so once you identify the mismatching character, then what you need to do, you need to get their indexes, store the indexes into the tree map. Okay, so our tree map name is target indexes. Target indexes, target indexes dot. Okay, so first you need to check put if absent. So you need to create the key value pair into the dictionary, no? So now you identified the mismatch character, a key you identified. Now you store put if absent. Okay, so which one? B of I is the key now. So B of I you put. Okay, then create an empty array list there. So just you can say empty array list of then call the method array list method. It creates a new empty array list. Okay, so otherwise what you need to do, you need to add into this dictionary. Okay, so target indexes dot get method. So indexes, that means it is already available, previously available. Okay, so this b of I is previously available, so it returns the list there. Now to that list, now you add this index, a new value you add it to this. That is what we are informing. That's it. Okay, so it adds. So once this is done, okay, so what you need to do, you need to, this is if statement. Okay, so and this is end of the for loop. So once you come out for loop for all the indexes, that means you have traversed the entire string A and identified the characters to be replaced. Okay, now once you come out from this, what you need to do? You need to process the tree map now. Okay, so the dictionary you need to process now. Now you need to perform the moves. So you declare a variable called as moves is equal to 0. Okay, so now you process the tree map here. Okay, so target indexes now you process here. So for character, okay, so what is the character you are getting? Each character you should get no from dictionary. So how to get the characters? Those characters are nothing but the keys there. Okay, so target underscore indexes dot key set. So all the keys one by one will be supplied here. Okay, now inside this, for each key now you get it's a list of indexes you get here. Okay, so for that what we did, we created a variable called as a indices. Okay, so which is of a list type. This is list type for the variable called as indices. Okay, so this is equal to, so how to get indices here? You supply the key value, it gives the value associated with that. Okay, so target indexes dot get. Okay, so then key is nothing but your target. So for this target it returns all the list, array list it returns. That array list you will get here. Okay, all right. So once you get the array list, then you need to check here. Okay, so what you need to check here, whether it exists here or not. Okay, so we'll implement with boolean exists is equal to false. Afterwards we'll remove this. Okay, so initially we take this variable and I'll show you how you can directly return -1 there. Okay, so then I am processing the string a here, whether it is present in a or a not. That is what we need to check here. Okay, so how to check? If c is equals to, okay, so if c is equals to target, okay, so that indicates that it is existing in a. Okay, so you'll say that exists is equal to true, exists is equal to true, and you can just break the loop. You can come out from the loop here. Okay, so this is a loop ending here, inner for loop ending here, and this is outer for loop ending here. Got it? All right, so now if you use this variable, you need to check here after coming out from the inner for loop. Okay, if it is not existing, you should return -1. Okay, so like this you should write after coming out from this inner for loop. Okay, so you should write a statement like this: if not exists. Okay, so if not exists, then you should return -1 separately. Okay, so instead of that, you can directly return -1 here itself, and it comes out. The program ends here itself. Okay, so this way we'll write generally code in a Java. Right, so once it is done, what you need to do? You need to perform the transformation. Okay, so now you perform the transformation. So one move you are doing, increment the moves value, moves plus plus you say. Okay, so now you write the for loop. So for int index, each index. Okay, so where from the variable called indices. Now you perform the conversion. So a of index is equal to target. A of index is equal to target. Each key you need to replace. That's it. So target you have written replaced here. Okay, so that's it. This is outer for loop. That means for each element in the dictionary, it processes up to this part. Okay, so once the processing is over, now you return a moves value. That's it. So let us run the code. See what is the problem here. Error semicolon expected, line number 9, break semicolon expected. Here I missed the semicolon. Okay, so I am more habituated to Python. Okay, so that's why line number 9. Line number 9 here also I missed the semicolon. Okay, so let us run once again. There is another for char C. Okay, so this char I think should be in lowercase. We got uppercase here. So it's a data type, no? So now your program is compiling. So let us apply. If there is no error, let us apply the first string here. Okay, so the first string is A B C A B. Okay, then error we got. What is the error? Index out of bounds. Index 0 out of bounds for length 0 at main code line number 12 and line number 42. Okay, so line number 12, this one. I is equal to 0. Is it 0? 0 or O? Okay. Yeah, so for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus we are doing this. Okay, so A of I less than B of I, we are returning -1. Doing then at which place? Okay, so this is code 42. This is our main program, no? Okay, so NAB, so this is the main. That means inside this loop, okay, so n is nothing but the length of the string, sc dot next int, we read correctly. Then so these kind of errors keeps coming. Okay, so you need to identify them. Now how we are processing this? See, I is equal to 0. This if condition closes here. Okay, so then after this for loop closes here. That is what exactly we are doing. Okay, so then yeah, we start processing here. Okay, so everything is looking good here, but why this error? Yeah, A B C A B 5, no? First n value is 5. We need to supply number of characters n. Okay, so let us just do one thing. What we do is we call the function directly. Okay, so let us check whether this is giving any problem. Yeah, I directly pass the strings here itself. Okay, so instead of calling them, okay, hopefully this is giving the problem. Let us check here. Okay, so this is how you should debug your code. Now let us see this. So here directly we pass the strings and number of characters here itself. Okay, so first string I'll pass as ABC AB. Then the second string will pass as AAB AB. Okay, so again I run the code. Yeah, now you can see the output as a 2. Okay, so that means this code is not reading the input properly. Okay, so now uh, it is a task for you. Okay, so I discussed this in one of the previous Java codes, and you can just write your solution answer in the comment section of this video. Okay, so why it is unable to read the input properly. So based on your comments, I give the correct code. Okay, so I reply the correct code. In the comments, I'll send you the correct code. Okay, so ask for correct code in the comment section. Then I'll send you the correct code. So if you have any doubts in this, you can just type your doubts in the chat. And if you can test this with different input statements. Okay, so let us take another multiple indexes. Yeah, as we did ABB, CAB. Okay, so it is AAA and BBB. Okay, so now you can see output is displayed here. Okay, so this way the number of operations required, it is printing here 2 operations. Okay, so yeah, please go through the code. Okay, so how to implement a tree map, just look at the code. Okay, so try to find out its memory diagram. Okay, so try to print all the values before you do processing from this tree map. Okay, so all that you can test, you can cross check. Then you will understand how the elements are stored in the tree map and how we can process each element keys, how we can get and how we can get the values associated with those keys. All these things you should understand clearly. If you go with memory diagrams, then only it becomes easy to understand the code written here or here, all these things. Got it? So if you give two different strings like CD, DE, we have tested now. Okay, so that also you can pause here, and what output you will get, you can test here. So it is CD. If the character in B is not existing in A, then it returns a -1. Okay, so that we will test here. Error. Okay, so index 2 out of bounds for length 2, DE comma CD. Which one? Line number 12. Okay, sorry, here I have given the length as 5 now. Actually, the length of the string should be 2 here. Okay, so that's why it is giving index out of n value. Initially it is taking as 5. Okay, now you can see -1 returned. That means conversion is not possible. So test your code with different test cases. You prepare your own test cases based on the problem statement. Okay, then test your code. So thank you one and all. If you found this video useful, please like the video and share this video with your friends. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also turn on the bell icon for more such coding and placement related updates, notifications. So thank you one and all. Happy coding, happy learning.